Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. And we're going to mix it up a little bit today. We're going to have the associate producer of the Spotlight on the Community Show and other Cloudcast Media podcasts be on the other side of the mic. And he often is a co-host of mine. Now he's going to be a guest, and that is Brandon Joe. He is a senior at UCSD and, again, associate producer of a variety of our shows at Cloudcast Media. So how does it feel to be on the other side of the mic?
It's funny. It's been quite a while since I've been here, so happy to, say what I need to say about Cloudcast.
That sounds good. Well, let's start from the beginning. We talk about this quite a bit when we chat with different groups. We had a real successful, if I do say so myself, a presentation to David Oates, San Diego State Journalism and Media Studies class. They wanted to learn about the podcast, and but I think they got most geeked up when we talked about curiosity ships. That is Charles Preezy's favorite word. Charles is my business partner, also, a colleague of Brandon's. He's the founder and CEO of Cloudcast Media, founded in 2019. That's how we stumbled on you. You had met one of my colleagues, Neville Villamoria, and he introduced us to you, and then the rest is rock and roll.
Yeah, it's anything with Cloudcast seems like it's so easy to get involved. There's always opportunities around here, and more so than any other place that I've had a gander at. So
right, exactly.
It's great for the students.
Yeah. How did you run into Neville?
Oh boy. So at the time, I was running my own nonprofit that I founded back in high school, and I built it up in college. And I think it was my sophomore year of college, I was reaching out to people like a madman. And Neville was just one of those people. I've looked on our version of LinkedIn, which is Triton Connect, and connected with Neville, who was the quote-unquote Triton of the year. So I reached out to him, and we started chatting. I was asking for advice, and he offered for me to come onto a podcast. And I was like, me? You want me to be on the podcast? So that was fun. And I came into the studio, and Charles was confused.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so, and I've worked with Neville, as you know, since the time he came in 22 years ago to San Diego. And, what I really wanted to emphasize to folks, and what you do, and you're ahead of your game on this, is the fact that you took it to yourself and you go, listen, if I want to figure out what I want to do with my nonprofit, might as well start with people like UCSD, right? Was that your thinking then?
Yeah,
obviously?
Yeah. And at the time, we're just looking for any, involved alumni to come in to talk to the students. And I would think that the Triton of the Year would be interested in talking to students. So, yeah.
Did you have any idea what Neville's role was at Mission Fed or in the community?
I did my homework. So I knew that he was the VP at Mission Fed.
Right.
And I don't know, my mentality was reach out. They don't respond, and they're probably busy. Oh well.
Right, exactly. But you happened to hit a gold mine, and Neville is very well connected in the community, and we run across a lot of the same folks, as you well know. So my whole point on this, you took it to yourself to identify somebody, but here's where the luck comes, and you took advantage of the luck. It could have been someone, very good alumnus of UCSD, but maybe a great chemist or whatever, just doesn't have a connection. You hit the gold mine.
Oh, yeah.
But you took advantage of it. Talk about that.
They say you miss 100% of the shots you don't miss or you don't shoot. So I was shooting. And I'm just lucky enough that was the one. And so once that happens, I think it's a go. Just like anything, I think luck is not just a whims of fate. It's just momentum. At the time, I was reading LinkedIn posts because I was that kind of guy. And one of them describes luck as there's multiple facets of luck. Like one of them's momentum, one's being at the right place at the right time. One is just dumb luck, which everyone always references. So I was trying to take advantage of the momentum one, which is I was just meeting a ton of people and it just happened to strike. So
right. And when you did this, Brandon, I remember when we interviewed you, we were so impressed, obviously, about what you were doing and with your nonprofit and what you're doing, and the rest is rock and roll, of course. And, the ethos of, Cloudcast Media would love to give students opportunities if they're motivated and hardworking to work in the podcast. And you picked it up in 2 seconds. But you obviously had somewhere in your DNA where you were comfortable reaching out to people. That's not always the case with people in general.
I very much don't. I do not think I was comfortable. There were so many times where I was incredibly uncomfortable reaching out to people, especially Neville. I think at the time I spent half an hour trying to rewrite that email over and over again. Even getting on the first call is jittery. I did an hour of homework beforehand just to make sure that I knew everything that Neville was, and went from there. But there was no part of me that I was comfortable in that situation.
Well, obviously you could have fooled everybody in that aspect of it. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. Listen to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We're the nation's longest running community podcast in our 19th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in the community, whether it's food insecurity or whether it's financial literacy, or the homeless. They are there with us shoulder to shoulder. Our guest is the associate producer of the Spotlight on the Community Show, Brandon Joe, talking about how we got to this point. And I think what's important about this, Brandon, is you would tell people, and you have told people, that listen, if you want to put your toe into the water, whether it's podcasting or just meeting new people or developing your own voice, Cloudcast is the place to go.
Oh, definitely. I mean, coming to this show, you realize how many executives really come here to talk about, what the good work that they do. Everyone would love to talk about the good work that they have, and they're so gracious and so kind and happy to share what they've done because they already put in the hard work. They might as well talk about it and tell more people about it. So when these executives come in, there's just opportunities to meet them. Like I met a couple of superintendents the other day. I've met, Neville, he comes in every so often, CEO of Mission Fed. They just waltz in here and they're just people and they're happy to talk to you, especially as a student. I think that's the reason why I wanted to stay in school for so long is because that student status makes it so easy to talk to people. You could be doing whatever, and as long as you're working on something and you're excited about it, they're happy to help you or talk to you. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a big misnomer with many students. You got it. You got it early, and you saw it because, of the follow-up with Neville, and then, of course, with me and the Spotlight Show and with Charles. And we said, no, you're going to meet some cool people, and you didn't know us from Adam. And guess what? You've been doing it now for quite a while. And I think a lot of students think, well, man, what am I going to share with this person? This person's the CEO of X, Y, and Z. You got that. When you talk to students, do you see there's some pushback on that? They don't understand that. No, they can talk to CEO types.
I think I feel that they understand, but more so they still just get too nervous. It's not top of mind per se.
Right.
For a lot of the students, I've only noticed maybe 5% of them really have the courage to just reach out, just because it's part of their personality already. So for the other people who aren't personality or have the courage just as a trait to reach out to people and feel comfortable doing that, it takes a lot more of a leap. And I think that leap comes, or at least the courage to take that leap comes in when you have something that you're really passionate about. When your passion overtakes your fear, which is where I thought I landed at the time, where even if I felt terrible reaching out to people thinking I'm annoying them, I'm a huge people pleaser. So reaching out like that just made me feel like, for lack of a better term, just a terrible person. I was gonna say, that's okay. So just having that project helps take the leap.
Yeah, and what I think something that we've talked about. We call you the world's greatest and the youngest phenomenal networker, and it works. This stuff actually works. Do they teach networking at all in the schools, in the classes that you've had at least?
I mean, if you're in the business school, they teach it to you by proxy because they always try to get you to connect with the other students.
Right.
There's workshops up the wazoo. I wouldn't say there's any particular class that specifically teaches it, but because it's hard. It's almost, in a way, I almost see it as trying to teach a student like how to do their taxes.
Yeah.
It's not something that they have to deal with regularly, or at least the average students in my department, which is engineering.
Right.
They just don't have to deal with it. So being taught something that they don't encounter yet, it's just one year in, 1 year out. So you need to find them at the right time when they need something, when they're looking to solve a problem that they can't do it alone, then they tend to listen.
Right. And so to me, the point is, I think in all schools, whether it's UCSD, San Diego State, all the other fine universities that are in our communities, in our county, that I think that concept of networking should be talked about, should be brought up in every subject, in every major. Because obviously your goal, if you're majoring in something, is you probably, unless you want to do a shift, and that's fine, people do shift from their majors, you want to get a job in that field, okay? Usually. Now, sometimes you might get something that's right next door to that field, whatever that field may be. But in that case, you should be talking about it. And I just tell all, professor friends of mine, I hope you talk about networking. I don't care. It's
important to make it an option for the students, because I think regardless of whether or not the student thinks it's relevant, it's important that they know that they can do it. Like for example, like Project Next does, where they bring together a bunch of professionals and have this high school students meet and talk to them and help them realize that this is an option to get a job. This is an option to move forward any project that they have. It's a really accessible option as a student.
Well, when you break it down to, okay, what is your ultimate goal as a student? I want to learn as much as I can in my, chosen major. Who knows, I may shift and all that business. But the ultimate goal is, I think I want a job in this area. Okay. What are the ways they're going to help me get a job? Well, I'll tell you one of the ones that are going to do that are relationships and networking. And, you can't be too young to start networking. So you start as a freshman or whatever the case may be. And that's my whole point about all of this, is that that should be taught. That should be brought up. Doesn't make a difference what the major is. And start thinking about it now, folks. Okay. And bring that up. Your thoughts?
I think so one caveat I want to kind of dive into is at least my personal experience with networking, and another one of my friends who's a huge networker. We didn't really see the huge kickback of profit or maybe gain when we're networking so early, but it paid off right now that we're seniors. I think getting an internship with networking is difficult, but getting a job afterwards, it's huge. It's a lot easier when you have a network, just because you have built that relationship for so long. They're comfortable with you, even if you haven't worked for them before. Now that's most of the people you're networking with, it might be like medium to small size businesses. So now that you've graduated and they have reason to bring you on, because you're not just an intern, you can be a full-time employee that they trust. And so it gives you that huge edge that you don't really see until later.
Right. We're chatting with Brandon Joe. He's the associate producer of the Spotlight on the Community show and other shows of Cloudcast Media. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg, Spotlight on the Community. 19 years now. We're the longest running community podcast in the nation, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 60 years of doing great things in our community. We come back, we're going to talk more with Brandon about networking, what advice he would give to his colleagues, whether they're at UCSD or throughout. I want him to give us his best definition of curiosity ships. Our listeners have heard that many times coming from us in that area, and any thoughts he has on, what he would be able to impart upon some of the students and getting involved in whatever chosen career they're interested in. And we will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, You get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. Pleased to have on the other side of the mic the associate producer of the Spotlight on the Community Show, Brandon Joe. He is a senior at UCSD, and he also does a lot of associate producing for other Cloudcast Media entities. We've been talking about Brandon, how he got started, how he came across Cloudcast Media and Spotlight Show, talking about networking, a little bit about curiosity ships. So let me ask you this. Are we doing it right at Cloudcast Media? Are we making sure that the students and the young folks know there's a place for them here?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you just went out to SDSU to go talk to the students. You're doing all the good steps. In addition, we work with a bunch of high schools, so they already know who we are, and we host summer programs. That's how we got Shirazi recently. And so it's very unique that the company is doing this for interns. As I mentioned earlier, it's hard to get an internship by networking. And this is one of those rare opportunities that appeared, and perhaps you just need to search more. Maybe I didn't search enough or in the right places. But doing all the good stuff, all the right steps.
Right. Yeah. What helps us, of course, in this aspect of, some of the most effective communication, the most trusted communication is word of mouth, because you are going to trust that person, unless Brandon, you're talking to people that don't trust you. But for the most part, your friends will say, "Listen, if Brandon thinks that this is a place we need to look at, we're going to look at it. We may not go that way, but at least that gives that credibility." You mentioned something that is absolutely paramount when it comes to anything in business, life in general, for that matter, and that's relationships. And that is having good relationships that are all founded on trust. Talk about that.
Definitely, especially in San Diego, where I've always heard the joke that San Diego is the biggest small town in the United States.
Actually the smallest big town.
Smallest big town, biggest small town. Yeah. I've heard it both, actually. Yeah. And
we're the eighth largest city, so we're large.
But
huge. We're the smallest big town, right?
Yeah. And I guess the reason why I describe it as the biggest small town is because we have a small town feel. Everyone knows each other.
It does.
You make a bad impression on one person, that spreads really fast through San Diego. But same as for the opposite. If you make a great impression, people start talking about you. And even the fun thing of scaring Charles over and over again is that everyone knew me. And so whenever, they talked about like school, my name was brought up, or UCSD, my name was brought up. And then people are able to realize that, oh, they both know you. And then that builds so much trust so quickly, and that's been very helpful.
Well, it's been helpful for us because, one of the things that when you have someone your age, young senior in college, now has been with us, for a couple of years, in our third year of working with us, listen, somebody who has done this stuff, is this really true? Do they really give you an opportunity? Can you get behind the mic? Do they let you produce stuff? Do they trust you enough to be the engineer? And the answer is yes to all.
Yeah. I mean, you can just send us, if you're listening right now, you could probably just send us an email right now. You can send me one at brandon@cloudcastmedia.us, and we'll get you in here really fast.
Right. Well, the reason why I say that, for years, and I'm not sure if it's still experienced this way, for years, the intern of fill in the blank company. If you don't mind getting coffee, and if you can make 45 copies of this, that would be great. And now we're out of number 2 pencils. Can you run down to Staples? We're the exact opposite. You're going to get in there, and you're going to be able to put on your resume you've been a co-host, or you've been an engineer, or you've been a producer, or fill in the blank.
I mean, I think the reality is that at a smaller company, everyone does everything. So you're going to be doing everything, just like our founder Charles. Charles is running and grabbing. He's producing the shows, or he's the sometimes the producer for many shows, or he's uploading. He's all the way down to literally uploading things to our Google Drive, or driving 30 minutes to go get a chip because no one was there. He does everything. So we have that sort of style or culture. Is the correct word.
Well, yeah, and and part of that is I'll brag about Charles a little bit. Is the fact that of course I've been doing this a lot longer than Charles has. I've been doing this for 19 years.
Absolutely.
And you met the founder of how I got started, Chris Genuine, Times of San Diego, who was on the show recently. But you need a guy like Charles, who's very entrepreneurial, has been an entrepreneur since age 25, really is always thinking in marketing. I think he must dream in marketing, or whatever the case may be. But you start seeing things and you recognize it's all about relationships and it's about contact. And of course, the Spotlight Show has really been a business development deal for years. Think about it. We've been doing this 19 years, every Friday, pretty much for the most part. We only miss a few Fridays during the year. A minimum of 4 or 5 guests all the time.
Flagship Friday.
Yeah,
we bring in the best guests, and we're able to talk to them, meet them.
Right.
Charles often talks with them afterwards.
Absolutely.
He's so smooth with the words and great with the marketing, comes up with names for potential ideas on the spot. He's just incredible. And he's going to hate that we're talking about him in this way, complimenting him, because he always stone-faced stares at me whenever I give him a compliment and then moves on. It's hilarious.
Yeah. So, and that's the whole key in San Diego. You got to have those long-term relationships. We're chatting with Brandon Joe. He's the associate producer of my Spotlight Show. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We are the longest-running community podcast in the nation in our 19th year, brought to you by the fine folks of Mission Fed Credit Union. So what's your next steps? You are a senior. You just did some work abroad in the summer, and now you got some other great plans abroad. Talk about it.
Oh, yeah. I'm lucky enough that I'm able to study abroad, and I chose China recently, so I'll be studying there from mid-February to the end of June. And I've never been to China, even though I'm ethnically Chinese.
Right.
And my mom hasn't been there, my sister hasn't been there, my dad has been there, but we want to visit. And so I've kind of, after reconnecting with my culture through an international student from China that I became really good friends with, I realized, it'd be cool to go visit there and to experience what my ancestors felt. We haven't been to China in a long time. My great-grandfather moved to Korea during the war, and stayed there ever since. And so we're relatively far removed from our Chinese heritage, and I don't know anyone there, but it's a good chance as any when I'm young to just go abroad. And it's not like it was my decision. It was my decision, but I was encouraged to by a lot of people, whether it was mentors, my girlfriend, my parents, to just go abroad while I have the chance and the financial opportunity from my dad, even though it's the same price as going to UCSD, which is strange. So might as well go, I guess. Right.
No, I think that's great. Now, are your relatives still there? Or?
Oh no, I don't know anyone there. So, we cut ties.
But are there relatives that you?
I mean, if I did like a 23 or
23andMe
or whatever, I probably have relatives there. We don't talk to them because all of our family, we cut ties, or we brought them all to the United States.
Got it.
So on both sides, or one or the other.
Well, I think it's going to be a fascinating opportunity. Talk about what, in that vein, so you've been doing this for a while. You've been a co-host for quite a while. You're certainly the associate producer. You're out there with remotes and all that. How has your work on the Spotlight Show helped you with other things you're doing as either a student or as a young adult?
Oh, other things I'm doing? I mean, the first thing is it gives me confidence that I'm able to put something together. Having any sort of job just gives that confidence that I feel many young people lack of. Like, I have no ability to do anything, but the job confirms that you're able to provide value, you're able to do something. In addition to being able to be comfortable while talking, although I did a lot of public speaking before that, so I think I was lucky enough to have that skill. I think if we really get down to it, Cloudcast Media has helped me become comfortable just in general, whether more comfortable than I was before, especially because we're talking to high-level executives. So I don't even flinch when someone from the Marine, or like an admiral from the Marines or the military comes in, or we have a superintendent come in, or CEO of Mission Fed, or I don't know, just it's easier to do small talk or to talk with them and try to treat them like we're the same age per se, which helps to kind of remove the initial feeling of like I am insignificant in comparison to you. And it's like, we're people. We're just talking. It's you can have fun and joke and all that fun stuff. I was joking with the VP from Bank of California before coming into the studio.
Steve Bernstein.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have been able to do that prior to this show. I would have been way too uncomfortable to just, make a joke, or I don't even remember what I said. But I hopefully said something funny.
Well, and I think part of it is the fact that it doesn't hurt that, I've been fortunate enough to know these guys for a long, long time, and they've been friends and colleagues. And of course, they're going to have anybody that's associated with the show, they're open with open arms. And that makes a deal. That it's all about the relationships. And I'm just so glad you feel that way about the folks that come in here. It's going to pay off for you somewhere down the road. And I think, we've been thrilled to have you on as our associate producer, and we look for many more cool new things that we're doing. Any final comments you'd like to share with our audience?
I mean, the best thing, or at least what I feel right now, is just thank you for giving me the opportunity, for being here to give other students the opportunity to have something that gives them confidence, or to have something that helps them get into college, like Shirazi. This opportunity that you're giving out to the students is something so rare, something that I don't see very often, done right too. So we're not just running and grabbing coffee or, doing something menial all the time. And so I really appreciate it.
Well, we're honored to have you do this, and we've been the beneficiary of you coming on and doing all this great work with us, and all the other ones that Sophia Lee and Shirazi, and go down the list of folks that just really help Madison. They give us such
Natalie now.
Go down the list, and they elevate Cloudcast Media. So wishing you nothing great but things to happen as you finish up your work at UCSD, and head out to China, and we will certainly have you on before you do that sojourn, so to speak.
Sounds good. Okay. Thanks, Drew.
You're welcome, Brandon Joe, associate producer of the Spotlight on the Community Show and many other shows of Cloudcast Media. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community podcast. We are the nation's longest running community podcast, now in our 19th year, brought to you by the fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things for people in San Diego, and we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.